Hello there and welcome to Heritage TV News, produced by Oladeji Ibrahim Daudo. I am Veronica Olabisi Obadara. First, the highlights. As Nigeria's election has been postponed, international observers urge INEC to strictly adhere to dates. President Buhari expresses disappointment over shift in general elections. Yakubu meets stakeholders and plead for understanding. Nigerians to remain peaceful in the face of provocation, Atiku urges. And PDP rejects shift in election dates. And now, the news in full. The management of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, led by Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, and the INEC top management team were reportedly locked in a meeting with some heads of observation team. In his remark, Yakubu said the postponement was entirely that of commission and not under any influence or security issues. He noted that the commission earlier considered Sunday or Monday, but had a rethink after receiving input from the ICT department that it will take 5 days to reconfigure card readers. He therefore assured the nation and stakeholders that the Commission is determined to keep to its promises to conduct a free, fair, and transparent election that beats the 2015 general elections, which has become a benchmark for the Commission. Yakubu also agreed that the recent fire incidents in Abia, Anambra, and Plateau states had effect on the Commission's schedule of activities. He, however, said the Commission has been able to mop up card readers from other areas, while new permanent voters' cards have also been printed as replacement for those who lost their PVCs to the fire incident. President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria on Saturday in Daura, Katsina State, expressed his disappointment over the postponement of the 2019 general elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. Buhari arrived his home state on Thursday for the All Progressives Congress presidential campaign rally and to vote for the presidential election earlier scheduled for this Saturday. But INEC in the early hours of today had announced postponement of the elections by another 1 week due to some challenges the Commission encountered. The President, in a statement on Saturday, said, and I quote, "I am deeply disappointed that despite the long notice given in our preparations both locally and internationally, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, postponed the presidential and National Assembly elections within hours of its commencement." End of quote. President Buhari urged INEC to ensure that materials already distributed are safe and do not get into wrong hands. He also charged the electoral umpire to do everything to avoid the lapses that resulted in this unfortunate postponement. And still on the election postponement, the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, has urged Nigerians to remain peaceful in the face of provocation occasioned by the postponement of the elections. He was reacting to the postponement of this Saturday's presidential and National Assembly elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. In a statement he signed, Alhaji Atiku said the postponement was orchestrated by President Muhammadu Buhari's administration. He, however, urged Nigerians not to be disillusioned, but to come out and vote on the rescheduled date. He said, and I quote, "Dear citizens of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, as you know, the Independent National Electoral Commission has announced a postponement of the elections until 23rd February and 9th March, respectively. This postponement is obviously a case of the hand of Esau and the voice of Jacob," end of quote. And we're still talking about the postponement of the election, which is the big issue in Nigeria. The People's Democratic Party has rejected the new dates announced by the Independent National Electoral Commission for the conduct of the general elections. It alleged that shoddy arrangements for the elections by the Independent National Electoral Commission was a deliberate agenda of President Muhammadu Buhari to cling on to power, even when it was obvious to him that Nigerians wanted him out. National chairman of the party, Prince Secondus, stated this while reacting to the postponements made by the chairman of the commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, in the early hours of today that the elections has been postponed. Yakubu said that the presidential and National Assembly elections, earlier scheduled to hold today, will now hold next Saturday, while that of governorship, houses of assembly, and Abuja area councils had been shifted to March 9. Seconders alleged that the postponement was part of a grand design by the All Progressives Congress to thwart the will of Nigerians at all costs. The heads of the international observation missions in Nigeria have urged the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to strictly adhere to the new dates it's scheduled for the general elections. This appeal was made in a joint statement signed by the heads of missions and the United Nations today in Abuja. The statement was made available by Sarah Fragili, Press and Public Outreach Officer, European Union Election Observation Mission. The heads of the various missions also called on Nigerians to continue to remain calm and supportive of the electoral process as INEC worked to implement its new timeline. You have been watching the Heritage TV News as produced by Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu. Just before we go, a quick look at the highlights again. International observers urge INEC to strictly adhere to dates. President Buhari expresses disappointment over shift in general elections. Yakubu meets stakeholders and pleads for understanding. And Nigerians have been urged to remain peaceful in the face of provocation by Atiku. PDP has rejected shift in elections dates. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening. I am Veronica Olabisi Obadara. Okay, thank you for watching our news. But now we're talking and trying to break down, this shift that just happened in Nigeria since INEC announced postponement of the elections. News headlines across the world seem to be screaming and splashing all this news, and we just want to react to that. And I've got in the studio with me this evening Femi Oke, DG, the Nigerian Institute. You're welcome.
Nice to see you.
Nice to see you as well. And of course, I have the Director of News and Current Affairs at Heritage TV, Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu as well. You're welcome, Ola.
So thank you very much.
Thank you. If possible, we'll be getting reactions from Nigeria as well. And hopefully Olayomi Koiki is watching us and he'll be able to join us because we want to know what's going on in Nigeria and how Nigerians are reacting to the whole thing. Femi, I'll come to you first. This is not new. I know it's not a good development, but it's not new to us. In 2011, we had a postponement. 2015, we had a postponement, and now 2019, a postponement was announced. My problem now is, why did INEC have to wait till 2 a.m. when people are asleep and they've already set their minds to vote in the morning? Why did they have to wait till the dying minute?
Yeah, this is the conundrum that everybody is asking and wondering what's going to happen. The elections have definitely been rescheduled now to the 23rd and the 9th, 23rd of February and the 9th. It's staggering.
Femi, you need to speak up because I want everyone to hear you.
It's staggering that they should do this postponement at the last minute. But what can we do? They're supposedly independent, and
they are.
So as they're independent, they've seen it within themselves that there's no other way around it. And really, we have to blame INEC, really, for their incompetency, because at the end of the day, millions of Nigerians are prepared for the vote. GDP has suffered, people have closed their shops, children are not in school. There's so much happening that's come to a stop just because of these elections. And then only to wake up in the morning and find out, you know what, you cannot vote again. It's a disaster.
It's a shame. It's a shame. Oladiji, I mean, I want to, get your own reaction to that as well. Why did they have to wait till this dying minute?
Basically, we have to look at the huge logistic that involves. Nigeria is not, it's a very big country,
huge nation.
And you have to look at the number of the polling stations, 36 states, then with the time frame. Most of the problem, people are not looking at where the problem comes from. There was recently, it was in the news that the budget was not being released to them at appropriate time. And when you look at the issue of 2011, 2015, 2019, the three elections, the problems were not the same. I could remember the 2011, it has to be incomplete of the materials. Then coming to 2015, the then President Goodluck Jonathan was actually the one who postponed it. That has to be based on security issue, if you remember.
Yeah.
So this 2019, INEC were not given appropriate time for them to prepare, and so that we know the situation of
things.
Nigeria things over there. So it's no problem. I think INEC has tried.
You think?
I strongly believe they tried. Yeah.
Okay.
We can't accept that. I mean, in this day, Nigeria's going to be 59 years old this year. And for us to accept this kind of mediocre kind of performance from INEC,
it's becoming a pattern now.
It's becoming
like
a ridiculous pattern. I mean, to be honest with you, they should have had a position where they could have predicted all these possibilities, all these scenarios, and they could have put in place systems. But really, it's not just INEC that we have to blame. We have to blame the politicians, because obviously the firebombing or the arson on INEC materials must have been instigated by one of the parties. It couldn't have been just anybody just doing it. So there's a spoiler in the game. They're either within INEC or outside the INEC, and they're doing this thing to frustrate the elections. Who is benefiting by the postponement? Because I don't know who's supposedly benefiting.
Some parties are definitely...
Something is going on there. I mean, to be honest with you, the current government, they're not happy about it. They were on there saying they didn't want a postponement. To be honest, I think the opposition are not wanting it either.
No.
But logic would say that they would be more... The opposition parties are likely to have more advantage by the postponement. But the fact that there's not going to be any more campaigning, that's going to hit them hard.
Yes, that's the difficult one, because even the PDP, okay, now the PDP say they are rejecting this shift. Is that not like medicine after death?
I strongly believe it is too late for them, because the issue is that one has to look from where the whole scenario started. Now, the APC hasn't said anything. Only what I heard in the news about the APC chairman, Comrade Shomole, he mentioned that the time was very too short. They are giving them some notice. But when we look at what we've heard from INEC so far, they've been having problems in some part of the state.
Yeah.
And these are inevitable, something that they could not manage. So that's it.
Okay, going through the news, President Muhammadu Buhari of Nigeria says that he's highly disappointed, about this this shift. But Atiku is accusing him of trying to use this to favor himself. What do you think?
That's flabbergasting for Atiku to make such a statement, and I think that the government and the people there ought to call him up on that. You can't make certain accusatory statements which are libelous in a way, because at the end of the day, what evidence does he have? He needs to verify his statement, back it up with evidence to say that this is the evidence and it's verified and it's indisputable. So within the lack of that evidence, there's no credulity in what he's saying.
Not at all.
The elections have been postponed. No one is happy about it.
Nobody.
At the end of the day, what the INEC is saying is that they had to postpone it, because if not, they would have had to have staggered elections. So places where the PVC, the card readers were firebombed, apparently it takes 5 days for them to reconfigure new ones. They found new ones,
yeah.
but they weren't able to configure them in time. So they could have had a situation where they said the elections are going on, but not in those states where there were incidents. How would that look? People might read meaning into that as well.
As well.
You know how Nigeria is. So either way, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. That's the way I see INEC's situation.
So INEC was not really ready for Nigeria and for this election.
That's,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, you see, the thing is, technically they can say they were ready because they had all the machinery, everything was there, but then someone sabotaged the situation. You can ask yourself, is that a scenario that they should have predicted, or were they ill prepared? Because when you take sensitive materials, sensitive machinery into the field, into the battlefield, because the elections are a battlefield, then you would have expected that they would have, and they've had big budgets, 242 billion.
Yes.
A big significant proportion of that was for security.
Yeah.
You would expect that security would have been following all those materials, and they would have 24-hour security. There was a situation where supposedly a drunken security guard was supervising, you know, the burning of our INEC office in Plateau. I mean, this is
my
ridiculous.
goodness.
What type of security? I've always had to question the security infrastructure and architecture in Nigeria. It is very,
nil.
very shaky.
It's
to be
nil.
quite frank.
Because I remember a news headline that we read, you know, where they said they've deployed so and so to look after the equipment, the properties, and the people. So, but at the end of the day, we're still having reports of all these loopholes and.
Actually, everybody was surprised because about some few months ago, all we've been hearing that everything has been put in
Yes,
place.
yes.
They are ready, and all the security measures has been put in place. That all the security agencies are working in hand with ANEC. But you have to look at the situation of things because this is not new. And coming about those who are condemning ANEC or perhaps statements of the PDP presidential candidates, political statement in any situation in Nigeria is not that new. So we shouldn't take that as anything new or perhaps taking it so serious.
Okay, the 23rd February, that's the new date that INEC has released for, and the 9th of March. How will this development, this shift, how will it affect election results? The voters' mentality?
Yeah, the observation from the feeders that we're getting from the Institute is that there's likely to be increased voter apathy. Because people are prepared for the elections now, they've gone out of their way, they've gone to their various villages, because, you know, the electioneering in Nigeria is so difficult to transfer your PVC from one location to another. So you could be living in this urban city, then you have to go thousands, hundreds of miles to get to your village, to get your polling. So now you spend all that money to get there, and now to get back to the city, and then now you need to go back again.
For 7 days.
Some people physically will not, and financially may not be able to do that. So definitely there's going to be an impact on the election. Then the fact that there's no campaigning right up to the 11th hour, again, people's eye will be off the ball. Only those who are passionate and really keen to vote and want to do their, you know, to exercise their civic duties will definitely be there, and party members and alike. To ginger the people up, as one of the PDP spokesmen said, would have been for them to have campaigning to continue. Okay. So I believe that there will, and you can look at the trend of elections from 2011, even so before that. In fact, elections where there have been proposed postponements, the actual voter turnout is reduced.
That's right.
So, last time round it was 40-something%. We may be able to see just a similar level of voter turnout.
Okay, so they did this in 2011. The voters reduced. It affected, you know, some parties. 2015 again. Do you not think they're now using this like a system to control election results?
The last election that the INEC conducted, where this kind of incident happened, perhaps we are inconclusive. The turnout later it was reduced.
Yes.
So maybe I think people are going to be demoralized. But those who really serious, who really intended to vote.
No, even if they're serious, I mean, like Femi said, even if they're serious, the fact that they've spent money, and you know, money is really hard to come back by Nigeria.
People are suffering right now.
So this is what I'm thinking. Are they now beginning to use this pattern now to control election in Nigeria?
Like, what is the excuse that INEC gave now is visible? It's something we could say. So like this, we couldn't say that maybe perhaps it's a static. I mean, it's a kind of static.
But as you're saying, we need to know who the they are, because obviously that has a consequence. Someone is benefiting somewhere. Someone has done that action
Definitely,
for a particular person. So we need investigation into who, you know, normally when an arson or something happens, there's someone behind it. We can find and investigate, and whoever it is must be prosecuted. But to be honest with you, what shows to me that INEC are completely outrageous in what they're doing is that right now, the elections should have happened.
Yeah.
How can you have elections when you don't know how many PVCs there have been obtained by the people? That record needs to be out there. There could be an opportunity for gerrymandering. How will people have confidence in the transparency of the agency when you don't even know how many people have collected their PVCs? That figure is supposed to be out there. In fact, that's supposed to be out there before the actual elections.
That's
so
right.
We're already here now on the 16th when this information should have been out even latest the 15th or even before that. Because how do you do your calculations? How do parties work out how many people they can possibly meet
Definitely.
when they don't have these figures?
59 years after independence, Nigeria is still swimming in this murky water. Which way for Nigeria?
I think, I don't know if I could answer this. When we look at this region of the country now, we seem to be comparing Nigeria with some other advanced country. We have to look at the infrastructure, we have to look at the facilities that we had over there. How it's going to work. Regarding this INEC issue, I strongly believe that there is, I'm foreseeing some kind of a sabotage. Perhaps somebody, a fifth columnist, maybe somebody within or somebody without. And definitely some group of people must have been working assiduously to ensure that the sabotage of how to truncate this process.
This efforts, the international observers as well, they are already in Nigeria. Observing what? At this time, there's nothing much to observe. Their input, has it added anything?
Absolutely. Their input could prevent some kind of irregularity, because the politicians saying that, okay, observers are from all parts of the world and everyone, all
hands are on deck,
and they could be able to see that this is not only Nigerian affairs. So I think.
Now you're watching Heritage TV, and we are just trying to react to the news that INEC has postponed Nigeria's election, which will have taken place this Saturday. If you're just joining us, we'd love to hear your reactions. Just react. If you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, we love to hear your opinions on all this. We know this is going to affect Nigeria, and it's going to affect the election results eventually. We're hoping Olayomi Koiki, he is in Nigeria at the moment, and we're hoping he'll be able to join us on this kind of debate, I can call it. But if he's not able to, if he's watching us, good, please join us. And if he's not able to, we just carry on and continue to discuss. There's so much that that we can talk about on this. Now we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about Nigeria's postponement of elections.
Heritage Television. Promoting African culture and heritage at its best. From talk shows that concern you to both local and international news that relates to you. From grassroots football to African children's programs. Heritage Television. We cover your social and special events like weddings, birthdays, church anniversaries, and so on, and broadcast them live on our apps and online. Heritage Television, broadcasting everything about culture and heritage. Heritage Television. We've got it covered. Do download our apps on both Android, iOS, and Windows mobile platform. Heritage Television, your very own TV station.
My daughter-in-law. So how are you planning for my son's birthday? I have to cook for her. Do you people have ogirisi there? No. It's okay. Okay, let me call you back. Mama Chijioke. Hi, so wait a market. Please pack some ogirisi. I am going to visit my son. My daughter-in-law. It's arranged. But you must use original red oil to prepare the soup. What? I'll call you back. Mama Chijo, Please include Isio Morocco, my daughter-in-law. Everything is now set. But don't forget that gold wristwatch I saw the last time I visited.
Now you can talk until you tire for just 11 kobo per second. Call all networks in Nigeria and 30 international destinations, including US, UK, China, Canada, and India for just 11 kobo per second. Dial *211# to activate.
That's Silk Boo-Boo.
The largest data network, Glow, grandmasters of data.
Yeah, welcome back. This is Heritage TV, and we are just reacting, after the news bulletin, to the news that INEC has postponed the elections in Nigeria, and it's about the third time that we're experiencing this. We're hoping to get reactions from our people across the world, from Nigerians across the world, and of course from Nigerians in Nigeria. Olayomi Koiki should be watching, and if he's watching, we want him to join us on this show, on this debate. Just while we were on break, I'm going to introduce my guest once again in case you're just joining us. So I have the head of news and current affairs at Heritage TV, Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu. He's still around, and of course I have Femi Oke, who is DG, the Nigerian Institute.
See you again.
So yeah, nice to have you again. When we were at the break, we were talking about this particular INEC official whose company contracted out, all this materials.
What you have to look, there's no any evidence for that. Don't let us try to go into details of that, because this is coming from an opposition.
Okay.
But the problem with Nigeria now, we have to look at Nigerian election. Let's go back to 1979 when the whole system of election started, that our own generation were able to witness that. Because Nigeria have had, say again, over whiskey. Yeah. Nigeria has had, before, the Nigerian military were on the political landscape for a very long time. When you look at it from that 1966, when we had the first coup, then coming again to that 1975 again, when Muritala Mohammed took over the mantle of leadership, then 76, where Bukasu Kandika, the colonel, overthrew him again. Yeah. Then Obasanjo, period was very short. Then the transition was rolled down in 1979. Yep. You could be able to see that allegation and counter-allegation is not that different. It's not new into the Nigerian political system.
That's right.
And our politicians, a situation whereby they could be able to leave the INEC, they leave the commission that is handling the electoral process. Leave them. We've had series from FEDECO. What's the other name again? From Whiskey. You remember that it was only 5 political parties. Almost ones was that of NRC and SDP.
But there was issues still.
But look at the issue of when we have 5 political parties in 1979. We had Unity Party of Nigeria.
NPN.
We have NPN. We had GNPP. Then we have PRP. Then we have NPP. Look at only 5 political parties. Now we are having 71 political parties.
Ridiculous.
90.
Is it 90? There's 71 registered one. Yeah. Then we have, it's not 72.
91 registered, 74 on the election.
Okay. Yeah. Then we had now 72 presidential candidates.
Yeah. To be honest with you, this is just a joke.
It's ridiculous.
I don't know if you've had a look at the specimen of the voters, the ballot paper. There's some people. There are people asking. You see, when you hear people in the opposition saying that we should have had electronic voting, we should have had electronic voting, and you think, how on earth are the lady, the mama in the village, how's she going to come to grips with a computer and electronic voting? You've got 90, like you were saying, 90-something parties. The whole ballot paper is like, toilet roll. Toilet roll. How are they can't, you're gonna put your which finger, the index finger, the thumb finger. It's just a joke, to be honest with you. And it goes back to what I say. It's about the politicians. Because the politicians like this kind of mediocre politics. Because at the end of the day, our legislators, I keep calling them like that, because instead of them doing their jobs, they're there for looting for themselves. They could have made sure that although the Supreme Court made judgments, it's their duty to have changed the law adapted it so that there are more constraints on you having a party. You don't just wake up today and me and my wife and my brothers and sisters are going to make a party. No, there should be consequences if you fail to get significant members, offices and all that kind of stuff. It should be made more difficult.
Let's look into the materials, election materials itself. Who verifies these materials?
Well, the thing is, at the end of the day, it's all about INEC. They've got their own processes.
Okay.
I mean, you've got these international observers, and they've become an issue, these international observers, because there's a suggestion now that some of them are not biased. And the PDP were asking for third-party verification of the electoral material, which is an interesting point. But if they're going to be the so-called supposedly international or independent observers, you want to know which particular ones are they going to be. Because another party might say, how independent are those so-called...
the so-called observers, international observers?
I think there's a huge problem on that aspect. Don't forget that most of these national observers, they are not people who really understood the situation of Nigeria, perhaps know anything, a lot of things there. Now the politicians, they know how to perpetrate their own style. The INEC chairman must have announced to us that they are going to be postponing. I strongly believe that there are some security measures that are going on that the ordinary citizen may not know precisely what is really happening. But this is not a new thing. We should be able to know that politicians, they are going to benefit, because you mentioned that two benefit from this kind of a system, because there are many of them were happy with this movement, or perhaps what is the way forward?
I mean, the thing is, in the social media, sorry to cut you in there, but in the social media is out there that there's a chap in Abia State who's supposedly got already arrested, linked to the government, who's got pre-recorded results for the presidential in Abia State. So all these kind of situations, I mean, how genuine that is, but it's out there. It's out there. I mean, I foresee a situation. The elections this time around are likely to be more freer and fairer than ever before. But this postponement has just put the spanner in the works. And I don't think we're going to be getting 98% for a particular party in this election. That has happened in 2015.
Let's wait and see.
That's happened. I can't see the possibility of any particular candidate getting 90% in any state. That happened last time in Bayelsa State. Jonathan Goodluck got 98% in Bayelsa State. And he got 95% or so in River State. So some of these fantastic figures are unlikely to become real. And when the politicians know that this is a possibility, that they can't gerrymander the figures like that, then they start to manipulate by firebombing and doing this kidnapping, shooting this. In fact, one of the special advisors to the governor of the Delta State was shot dead. So you got to understand, why are these things happening at the 11th hour of elections? Something is amiss.
There's more to these, than meets the eye. Seriously,
the politicians we must blame.
So INEC is not effective in Nigeria.
Well, they have been reasonably effective.
As I said earlier on, we have to look at the huge responsibility that has been in the adults, and how are they going to handle it. For instance, look at the issue of the 90-something numbers of political parties. They could have vetted them. They could have reduced. Perhaps it's not even easy for them to register every one of them.
72 presidential candidates is ridiculous.
Nigeria, they have to look at, if you are going to register, there supposed to be some kind of a stringent measure that make people, make it for some some group to find the registration exercise very easy.
But like we say, you can't blame the umpire. You have to blame those who are setting the rules, and that's the legislator. The legislators are the ones that are not doing their job, because if they set the rules, then INEC has to follow. So if they've had a rule that says you can register anybody, Tom, Dick and Harry, as their party, then everybody can have their party. I can have Femi Oke party tomorrow. So it's a ridiculous situation. Now, moving forward, at the end of the day, some of the people that asked the INEC chairman, they had some very interesting questions. And one of the questions they talked about is that when are we going to have diaspora voting, for example? In fact, some diasporans actually went out there to go and vote. Is their vote going to count? And he's assuring them that their vote is going to count. But their vote is not going to count, because if they have to return back to go to work, they're not going to be able to vote. So it's about time, that you wonder, as I said in a previous program, the legislators had the opportunity to include diaspora voting in the constitution amendments, and they refused to do it. They pulled it out. They're not interested in the diaspora voting.
They're not.
But they're interested
Apparently.
in our money. They're interested in us doing our foreign remittances and so on like that, foreign direct investment. But they're not interested in our votes.
Recently in another forum we discussed about these diasporan voters.
Right.
When you look at the issue at stake now, let's look at the problem that we are having. That is within Nigeria.
Yeah.
They find it very, very difficult to handle it, or perhaps to get it right. Now, to now compare it with diasporan voters, what do you think is going to happen?
I'll tell you what's going to happen. I'll tell you what's going to happen.
And the politicians are deliberately preventing it.
And I will answer that question, because another revelation that I heard today from from Yakubu, the INEC chairman, is he said that other West African countries, their citizens are voting in their own country's election in Nigeria.
But you can't compare their populations
in Nigeria.
Look, we can't use this as what I'm saying is they're voting in Nigeria for their own countries, and INEC is helping them. What I'm just trying to say to you is that we're just using excuses. India is a population of 1 billion, and it's got more problems than we have, and
Femi,
they do their elections.
Femi, a lot of things work in other parts of the world, but don't work in Nigeria.
No, this
to be
is an
honest with
excuse.
you,
It's an
I know
excuse
it's
for
not.
us.
Look at the Nigeria High Commission, for instance. When you want to get your passport, look at the hell people
Our banking
go through.
system is one of the best in the world. I keep telling people, you've got BVN, everybody's verified. You can, whenever you put money in your account, you get that registered on your phone. If someone tries to take money, it's quite. So we have the capacity. It's
We
not
do,
that we don't
definitely,
can't
we
do it.
do, yeah.
It's what it is that the people who are supposed to be the players, the important players, the party people, the politicians. They are the worst enemies. They are the ones. And
That's the problem we're having.
That is why the military have always found fit to come into play. Because they always find out that we, the politicians, always shooting ourselves in the foot. When we're supposed to play the game good, we're going to play it dirty.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, the military back then will be looking at it and saying, these guys are messing up.
So the problem is the politicians, like you said, their own goal is not about the people.
It's definitely not about the people.
So
that's 100% the case.
So we don't have control over that. They are in power.
Well, you see, the thing is, we do have control because we have the right to vote. And the thing is that a significant proportion of the electorate now are the young, okay? And they're going to be making the decision as to who's going to be the new leader or the same leader in this election. But they're not going to, most of them are not going to come to vote. They're not going to vote. And also, they feel disillusioned. Because if I'm 16, and then you're telling me to vote for someone who's 70-something, I'm not going to be infused to vote for him.
Vote for him.
You see? So unless that person was like a Donald Trump, really firebrand, I'm not going to really find it out. So to me, looking at both Atiku and Buhari, they are one and the same. They're not any different. So they're going to see that there's no choice. And then they look at the Showares and the Mogalus. They're not serious. They're not. They've got no strategy. They've got no framework. They've got no structure.
They're not ready.
So they're not ready. I wonder why they didn't go into the Senate and the House of Reps, where they could have changed these very laws that are bedeviling our country. They would have been more effective there.
I haven't said that they're not ready, but I still salute their courage to step out and step up.
I don't see it as courage. I see it as foolhardiness. If you're going to go into a game, you're going to go into battle. Go into battle prepared. Ready, of course.
Battle ready.
Why are you going to a battle that you know you're going to fail? And I watch them on TV. I just laugh. Mogalu is telling the world, and he's serious about it when he's saying it on the TV, that he's going to win.
Okay.
It's a joker, I'm sorry.
Virtually all the new political parties, virtually all their leaders are saying they are going to win.
They're not
experience.
Serious. They're not
but the situation was the constitution giving room for everybody to contest. The constitution does not set the criteria to say, okay, before you can contest for one particular.
I think we need to look into our constitution all over again, to be honest.
But what I say you see, we need realistic politicians. You know the facts on the ground. And I prefer politicians that say, we're unlikely to, I want to win and we're out there to win, but the facts are showing that we're unlikely to win,
win.
right at this stage. But we're going to be preparing for next time. But guys, still vote for us. Still vote for us. That is the kind of politician that Nigerians will take more seriously, not the ones that are
And
going
with
to be
this
saying we're going to win.
postponement, the candidates are not allowed to campaign.
They're not allowed
Absolutely,
to.
that's
So
what
they're
they-
going to be
they're going to
they're going to be drowned out. They're not even going to be in existence.
Wow.
So someone was saying, one of the commentators was saying that, look, people need to be at the cusp of people's minds, you know. But now that there's no campaigning, you won't remember what party was that, Mogalu, which is his
Who
party?
is that?
The Young People's Party. Which
Which
one
one is that?
They're not even going to remember anymore.
Nope.
So at the end of the day, by the time they get to the ballot, who do they remember? Oh, I know there's PDP, and I know there's
They will
the
remember
umbrella,
the two-
and I know there's the
the
broom.
broom.
They will remember
Okay.
the two
So
prominent parties.
which sign is
Wow.
ADC? Which sign is that one? I don't
They
even
can't
remember
remember that anymore. It's
As a
unfortunate.
matter of fact, I don't even know it myself right now. I don't know which one is the lion. I don't know which is the computer. I don't know how. I haven't got a clue.
What happens if I'm not predicting it because I don't want to be prophet of doom. What happens if this is postponed again?
Yeah, I don't think there
listen,
should be any postponement. I
you
don't
You can't
think.
say that in the air.
Yeah,
listen,
definitely, I don't
let
think
me
it's
put it to you. Let me put it to you that the powers that want to see a disaster in Nigeria can do the unthinkable, and they can put it, because look, I can see a whole phalanx of people completely against this government right now. I'm not going for any particular government, but there is a whole phalanx of people that want to see a kind of truncation of what's happening right now. So they can do and undo. It's very possible.
Anything is
Okay,
possible
what
in
happens if
Nigeria.
another load of 4,000
Vote
card readers
PVCs
get
or
burnt
something.
up, or something happens to them? Are we gonna say we're gonna go ahead when the same factors exist again?
Hopefully
He's
there's
gonna say
no.
it has to be postponed, isn't it?
Yeah. Hopefully they don't have
The
another
verdict is that
game.
anything could happen in Nigeria.
And
when
in
it comes to
Nigeria,
that.
yes, when it comes to Nigeria,
But he's-
anything can happen. Anything can happen. So the elections have been postponed to the 23rd of February and the 9th of March. What can we say? You still have your PVC. Hold on to it and hold on tight to it. You still have the power to vote and make changes in Nigeria. So you still have the opportunity to vote on the 23rd of February and the 9th of March. Please, this is what we can say from Heritage Television. Please go out and vote. Don't give up. Do your part. Hopefully, 23rd and 9th will not be postponed again. If you're just joining us, it's Heritage TV and you're just wondering what are they talking about, you know, we have been talking about the election postponements in Nigeria. The shocker that Nigerians received a little bit after 2 a.m. earlier in the day. Olayemi Koiki is supposed to join us, and I think is around the corner. It's beautiful that we're going to have him at the tail end of the show. We were hoping to talk to him earlier on. I have Femi Oke, who is DG, the Nigerian Institute, in the house. He's been, you know, sharing his opinion. And of course, Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu, who is Director of News and Current Affairs at Heritage Television. Is Olayomi Koiki ready for us? We're waiting for him. Okay, we're waiting for Olayomi Koiki, and we're still going to be talking about this election because we're not going to go. It's going to come to us. I've been looking into the headlines and all the things going on now. These people are not young people anymore, talking about the articles, even the Buharis himself, they are not young people anymore, but they still want to hold on to power and they still want to come back to power. How is this affecting the nation itself?
Well, the thing is, I've long said that the options for the electorate are more or less two bad eggs. You've gone into your grocery basket and you've got two eggs, and they're both bad. And now you need to know which egg am I going to eat, because you don't have any other alternative.
Oh my
And
God.
then you need to know which egg smells the worst, and then you reject that one. So
Okay.
it's down to the electorate to decide which is the worst of the two, and which is the best.
Best.
That's my own opinion.
Okay.
Basically, you see, the problem now is that the electorate they are the main problem of Nigeria as far as I'm concerned. Because on several occasions, people have been, pointing accusing fingers into the leaders, the politicians. But what about the electorate? It's just whereby many of the electorate, there's people who are collecting on, like, okay, when politicians are going out to converse for vote, they give them something. The issue of vote buying.
Vote buying.
People are ready. The same electorate are ready to collect. They even know how to go and get it from the so-called political leaders.
Yes.
So now, when the issue of the politician, most of the politician people are complaining about or pointing a finger to, the electorate are the people who are collaborating with them.
I think
so. The issue of maybe we are having old generation people who are the mantle of affair up to now. The electorate are not allowing them to go. They are enjoy the system.
I think there's also a system of oppression and suppression already in place in Nigeria.
Yeah, I was going to talk about is the politics of poverty.
Yes.
That's what's happening in Nigeria.
Yes.
I mean, I don't want to go into any particular party, but I say to people that when they say that Nigeria now is the poverty capital of the world, I keep telling them the fact of the matter is we've always been the poverty capital of the world. It's just that the figures weren't tabulated before properly so that we can see what's happening. And then because India has reduced its poverty level, then we are seen to be going up. But we haven't moved up. We're staying where we are.
But who are we to blame? Who are we to blame?
The people to blame are the people in government. The people in government. And the governments that we've had since independence have failed Nigeria. I mean, one of the issues that we have to say is that why is it that INEC's got logistical problems? And I'll just run it through to you now. The police, for a nation of 200 million, have announced officially that they're going to have 4 helicopters to police the whole of Nigeria. Is that making sense? It's ridiculous.
That's outrageous.
Now, INEC needs to take its materials all over the place. It could do with helicopters. Well, if the police have only got 4, how many is INEC going to have? Even if INEC's had 36, 36 is not enough.
No.
Now,
Absolutely.
in a nation that is moving forward, after 59 years, you would have expected to have had train lines going to every single capital city of the 36 states and federal capital. That would have reduced the logistic problem. It doesn't exist. We at this next stage, we should be able to manufacture or assemble helicopters such that we would have enough numbers of helicopters, we wouldn't have these problems. Okay, what about our waterways? Our waterways are not being used. We don't even make ferries. So all these sort of things. The rivers are not dredged. You cannot go from Bayelsa all the way to Onitsha because the river is not dredged. The whole thing is a nonsense. So you ask yourself, and that's why people are saying that, oh, we're blaming the government. Because always, whenever there's crisis, whenever there's any problem, you're going to blame the government that's there of today. They're the ones that's causing your hunger. They're the ones that's causing your unemployment. They're the ones that's not putting food on your table. But you've forgotten what's happened for the whole, 59 years? Because if 59 years had sorted a lot of these problems, we wouldn't be talking about it now.
So that's the problem. They are not solving the problems because they need to use the problems to oppress the people, and they wait for a time as this, the election period, where they can give out, the handouts. It's ridiculous. I heard 100 naira was given out, in some villages to people.
Some people were giving.
You don't blame those who are giving.
I blame those who are receiving.
I'm of the opinion that we should blame those who are receiving it.
I wouldn't blame the people that are receiving, because if I was there and I needed rice and someone's giving me rice, I haven't got rice in my kitchen, I will accept that rice.
It's hard.
But what I will say is that if I collect that rice, that is not a guarantee that I'm going to vote for you.
That's
the thing. So, and that's where the politicians are and the people are not. You see, when elections are rigged, you're not really seeing the full story of what the people are saying. But the more that in the independence of INEC and the elections are free and more fairer, you'll find out that despite all this so-called money politics and all that, the people will still make their decision. They're not going to vote for the person that gave them that rice. They were not going to do it. That's my own...
But unfortunately, in Nigeria, this is not what happens. Once they go out and, give this handout...
As I say to you...
Those who are giving money to them, they don't have to police it.
Yeah.
That's it. They ensure that those who collect are voting.
The election... The way we're doing our elections is improving as we move along. So previously, as in Osun and Ekiti, you found out that people were doing vote buying. There was the acronym Lodibo Kasebe or something like that. So you go and vote, and then you get money to cook. And then it turned out that you get money to buy a car or God knows what. But what I'm saying to you is that Now, they were even saying, okay, now after you voted, show me your phone. And all this kind of
They want
stuff.
to see
But so
that.
now
Okay.
INEC has put in place certain measures
I think
to
Olayomi,
tie that up,
This one here.
to make that more difficult.
I think Olayomi is on the line. I mean, is ready for us now. Hello.
Hello, good
Olayomi Koiki. It's good to see your face. How are you doing, bro?
Well, I'm very well, and it's also good to join you.
Well,
live from
your audio
Lagos.
is not coming out, and
Hello, I hope you can hear me.
okay, we're just waiting for your audio to come out. You look good.
Thank you very much. I could hear you loud and hope you can hear me on the other side.
Good. How are you? How's Nigeria?
Well, it's been a very busy history of our country. Yes, well, I can tell you that. But I'm sure we'll have a lot to discuss.
What's the atmosphere like in Nigeria after the announcement of this postponement?
Well, so waking up this morning, as we could understand, a country that has issues with electricity. So most Nigerians would to pick up the postponement announcement, like a lot of us from diaspora that are living outside the country, because we have access to be on more than those that are in the country. So Nigerians waking up to find out that the election itself has been postponed, and we've been out in different locations. I've been to Alimosho local government. For those that doesn't know, Alimosho local government is the biggest local government in Lagos State, and Nigerians have been reacting with a lot of those interviews that we had with the Nigerians that we saw. Yes, the atmosphere is calm, and people were moving about after the election has been postponed. Vehicles were moving from one end, and I will go back again to you in the studio.
Okay, thank you very much. I have Oladeji Ibrahim and Femi Oke, and we've been discussing extensively about this development, and so you are just about the tail end of the show this evening. But I want to ask you, from the atmosphere and the people back home in Nigeria, do you think they will turn out on the 23rd and the 9th of March? Do you think they will turn out again?
That was a question I was able to put through to a lot of Nigerians that we engage with, knowing that most of them are that not living in Lagos. Remember, some have to travel back to their hometown to cast their vote. But from what we gathered, I can tell you that Nigerians will be going back next week, Saturday, well determined to make sure that their vote will be put through next week, Saturday. So the turnout will be much bigger, as more than today, from the information that we engage with today.
Oh, this is beautiful. Well, we thank God for the way things are going. In Lagos State generally, how was the turnout today? I mean, from those who didn't hear about the news, how was the turnout?
Well, the turnout itself was huge, knowing that this election was well campaigned by all the political parties and also the younger political parties as well. So the energy for people to go out to vote has already been there, but I'm sure, like I said earlier, that same energy will be used again next week, Saturday. Though Nigerians are saying it might disrupt a lot of arrangements, knowing that this Saturday has been, it's now, Sunday here in Nigeria. But Nigerians say, well, next week Saturday, there's a lot of other events that has been planned, but I'm sure that will not deter them from going out next week Saturday. But this election is very important, same as it was in 2015, when the incumbent and the opposition was contested. Now
okay, Olayomi, and the youth, was the turnout good from the youth? And how did they react to the whole thing? Do you think they'll turn up again?
Yes, the youths well engaged with this election. You know, the numbers went up from the registration of the voters itself. We had about 84 million Nigerians compared to 60-something that we had in 2015. And the majority of that is the youth who are coming into the age voting. Yes, the youth are telling me that they'll be going back out next week Saturday to make sure that they cast their vote.
Okay, Oladedi has.
Olayemi, thank you very much indeed. Olayemi, thank you very much indeed. Look at the situation in Lagos at the moment from the postponement this morning. Do you think it's not going to affect the election day on Saturday?
Well, it's election, and there's nothing anyone could do. As much as INEC, tried everything, but at the early hours, that election was. Yes, Nigerians already have engagement, wedding, burial ceremony. Remember, Lagos is where every weekend there's always a party taking place.
Absolutely.
And Nigerians are already putting next week Saturday to avoid the 16th. The 16th of February has been a date, and Nigerians, quite aware that nothing should be put in place, so that affect the movement. And next week Saturday, I'm sure Nigerians will be making other arrangements for whoever is getting married, whoever is having a various.
Okay.
Looking at the security put in place. Do you think that the security measure in Lagos is up to the standard of what is expected?
Yes, I had a visitor that came all the way from Ikorodu, and I was told the amount of security personnel that was attached to Ikorodu, they couldn't believe it. And I was at the INEC office myself. We flew into Lagos on Wednesday, and I've been in INEC office on Thursday and Friday. The security in the whole of the area in Yaba itself is quite heavy. The security, I think, has been well put in place. Unfortunately, the election, couldn't go further, but the security itself has been well taken care of.
Okay, so Olayemi, we have Femi Oke, DG, the Nigerian Institute, in the house as well, and he has a question for you.
Yeah, how are you doing, sir? I wanted to know, do the people feel, or are they accepting the assurances from INEC that the elections will take place on February 23rd? I mean, do you think that it's definitely going to happen, or is it going to be postponed again?
Well, yes, sir, thank you very much. The assurance from Nigerians is yes, the election will hold next week Saturday. Even though a lot of them felt unhappy, like I did mention, I went into the barbershop like own community on its own. So Nigerians come there after the airport. Yes, they believe that the election will be on 23rd. We are saying that the day before the election was at the level of a very, very deep highway, trying to get the few Nigerians so that they will going out. It looks like some of them must have seen the vision that the election is not going to hold. But lady said to me, I would decide when I wake up, I sit in bed in the morning.
Yeah, I also wanted to ask you about the new parties, all these new young parties, the Shorias, the Mogalus. How are their supporters feeling? What do they think? And do you think that their supporters will be able to come out in numbers? Or do you think that they feel that this postponement is going to affect them seriously and they might not get as many votes as they may have thought they would get?
I listened to Omoyele Sowore of the African Action Congress when he was being interviewed in Akure, because he traveled back to his hometown where he went. The energy that the followers have is still that they'll be taking that same energy back next week Saturday to make sure that they're putting out. And that goes back again to Biola Dorogoye. Listening to Biola Dorogoye telling Nigerians not to get not to be upset or not to get carried away because the election has not been put today. And say, look, you know what, as Nigerians as we are, sometimes we might just neglect not going out to vote. It really put assurance in them, telling Nigerians and their followers to make sure that next week Saturday they go back there and vote out the party that is not doing very well at the moment and bring them in so that they can with the economy and contribute. And I think that's
Okay. Just finally, so we can allow you to go and sleep because I know it's past midnight in Nigeria. The international observers, did you notice any presence around the polling stations?
Yes, you'll be amazed that there is more international observer, in the country, maybe more than what we had in 2015. When I was picking up my official details of moving around with INEC,
Yeah.
we were told there's this international media, an observer, in the country. And that tells you that a lot of Nigeria international observers coming in to monitor the election. The Britain, like you are in at the moment, have 15 states that they'll be covering, and I'm sure that goes with the EU and the other European countries as well, and America.
Oh, thank you so very much. We have to release you now so that I can go get some sleep. I have a wonderful time in Nigeria. Hope to see you soon.
Well, thank you very much, and I will be on standby. Again, should we need to update you the development in the country, we're still going to be till the governorship election coming up on the 9th of March. So
yes.
Nigerians at home and outside will be able to get update on Heritage TV, from Lagos, Nigeria itself.
Thank you so much, and we appreciate your support. All the best. Good night now. Right, Olayomi Koiki has been feeding us from Nigeria, and he just had to go and sleep. It's been a wonderful time debating, chatting, and, expressing our opinions on this latest development in Nigeria, the postponement of the elections. It's going to be the 23rd of February, next week, Saturday, and the 9th of March. And we will continue to give you updates. And that day, hopefully, we're preparing for that day. We're going to be here to release election results as they come in.
Situation.
Yes, situation reports from Nigeria as they come in. As you heard, Olayomi Koiki himself is going to be on the ground for us, and so many other reporters hopefully will be able to be part of this to feed us, on situation reports from Nigeria. Thank you very much. Oladeji Ibrahim Daudu is the director of news and current affairs for Heritage Television, and of course, Femi Oke, DG Nigerian Institute. It's nice having you in the studio.
Thank you very much.
My name is Veronica Olabisi Obadara. I want to say a big thank you to you for watching, for staying with us on this show. And I just want to encourage you to continue to support us. Have a wonderful day.